Good morning, everyone. My name is Elizabeth from Prosper Health Collective, Clinical Psych Registrar. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about confidence. And confidence is actually a really interesting word, isn't it? When we think about confidence, I wonder what might come to mind. Like for myself, I know when I look at confidence, I think of someone who really has it all together. Very assertive, very calm, very composed, have no fear. They just absolutely know what they're doing. They're go-getters and they get everything done. But underlying confidence, I wonder what the process might look like. And underlying that narrative of I lack confidence, I wonder what that actually, hinders us in the process. And often I find that when we say we lack confidence, it really impacts on our capacity to even take the first step forward into this risky terrain. Because after all, when we look at self-confidence, right, it's about how it's really associated with how much we believe that we can perform something successfully, isn't it? Now, so let's play a bit of a detective work here. Understand that when we look at performing a task successfully, often what is really required is the skills. We require the skills, be it whatever the skill is to manage a task, like driving a car. You do need to learn the skills required in order to drive a car successfully. We need to look at our expectations of what we may realistically be able to do, say, after only practicing one time. And we need to look at whether we have enough opportunities to apply those skills. So let's do some detective work here. What might actually be immobilizing you when we look at your lack of self-confidence, for example? If you are like many of us, the majority of us, chances are you may not necessarily have had enough opportunities to practice what you believe your lacking confidence is. Because often there's this inner critique that loops in the background. And this inner critique may sound like, it's too hard, I'm going to be so crap at this, there's going to be others who are so much better at this, I just can't do it, I can never make it, I'm just never good enough. And this voice can sound extraordinarily convincing and feel really convincing, although they may not necessarily be convincing if you look at it and break it up as what's fact and what's just a thought and feeling. Okay, sometimes these critical thoughts may come in the form of images where you just even think about yourself failing, you might just cringe at how spectacularly you might fail, the impending embarrassment that comes with it, and you might even feel all these physiological responses, and anxiety comes with the idea of doing something so risky. So yeah, what does your brain tell you or show you that really immobilizes you? So if we look at skills training, for example, learning how to shift gears in a manual car, have you actually acquired skills associated with it? Is it about managing all these unhelpful thoughts that we just talked about? Or is it about managing unrealistic expectation? Well, my dad learned how to drive a car in like one day, so I should know how to drive a car in one day, even though I've never had any prior experiences. Is that really realistic? Perhaps it's about managing the anxiety or unhelpful feelings, like feeling scared, undertaking something risky, like driving for the first time. Of course, it's natural that you feel scared. Most people would. But when it becomes unhelpful, do we have the skills to manage those unhelpful feelings? Or just the physiological responses, well, I'm having racing heartbeat doing this. So do we have the strategy to help ourselves through these racing heartbeats? Now, once you've identified the nature of what might be holding you back, strategies can then be put in place. For example, one way is to notice these thoughts and feelings and name it for what it is. Understand that your brain does have the tendency to throw these very familiar but so unhelpful thoughts and beliefs your way. However, they really do not need to have power over you. Thoughts in particular, they're not necessarily a fact. We can notice it for what it is and simply observe it from a distance. A thought as a thought, a feeling as a feeling. It puts a lot more psychological distance between you and the thought or feeling. more than a life of whether I'm confident, I'm not confident, is really the question of what would it look like if you do have this extra confidence that you would like, that you desire. What does it take for you to live a life without limitation, a life where you venture towards one that you truly value? Maybe you may not necessarily need to feel self-confidence, but does it mean that you can't live a life that you truly value? You may not need to feel that self-confidence at the moment, but you may not feel it, but you can still move towards a life that you truly value. It does not need to stop you, because if you have to wait to feel confident, you might have to wait a long time. And that tends to be the case for a lot of us. Now, if you need additional support in this area, or to brainstorm with someone how to actively engage in actions that moves you towards what you really value, please feel free to contact one of us at Prosper Health Collective.